Once upon a time, God created a paradise. But then, it was ruined by war and civil unrest. But God's heart went out to the people of that land. Today, we travel to Indonesia, to the far west island of Sumatra, known for exotic flora and fauna, for the finest spices and coffee, and tourism. To Aceh, known as the veranda of Mecca, this land takes pride in the purity of its dominant religion and attracts thousands of people on pilgrimage from the remotest places of the world. Today, we look into this world and we'll try to see it through God's eyes.
We're here in Bandah Aceh, and we want to tell you a little bit about our trip.
This part in the westernmost part of Indonesia is a little unique. If you go all over Indonesia, you see so much diversity. You see Christians and Hindu and Chinese, but this part prides itself on being very pure in Islam. You know, people think this place is some kind of a strange and different world than the rest of Indonesia. It's really not. The Acehnese have their own language, but most people speak the popular Indonesian language. They are ethnically the same as most people in the country, even though there are about 7 other ethnic groups living among them who share their ideals.
So what sets them apart?
Their unique history. Going back all the way to the year 804, the trade routes favored Aceh for its location, and ancient Muslim writings all over the world mention Aceh as this sort of island paradise. They traded over the centuries with India, with Mecca, and with Turkey, while the rest of Indonesia stayed regional. In the 16th century, the Portuguese finally arrived, and this part of the world was never the same again. This old Dutch drawing shows the manufacturing of pepper, one of Aceh's biggest early exports. But while the Dutch took most of Indonesia, they could never quite get a handle on Aceh. Sultans like Iskandar Thani made sure that it stayed powerful and independent until about 1799. That's 200 years after the first Europeans arrived. Finally, in 1871, the Dutch invaded this land. And for the next 50 years, there was fighting in the villages all the time, and 10,000 Dutch lives were lost. World War II, as with the rest of Asia, meant Japan controlled this region for a short time. And though it was a huge interruption, the void left from the Japanese departure was a pivotal point that led to Indonesia becoming an independent nation. But this just meant a different enemy to the people of Aceh, who formed the Free Aceh movement. But when it seemed that the weary fighting would never really end, the tsunami hit in 2004, wiping out a large part of Aceh's population, more than 100,000 people. In order to make sure that aid would come, the Free Aceh movement decided to compromise some of their demands and finally give up independence in exchange for more autonomy. 2 years after the tsunami, official peace was signed in Helsinki. Only in recent times has it been safe to travel to Aceh, but the doors are wide open, and now anyone can come here.
This is in the middle of a town, and these poles were left standing after the tsunami.
So they turned it into this artwork, and it shows a little of the optimism of the place and how the memory still stays, as you can see from the old photo.
We visited the large museum dedicated to commemorating the 2004 Boxing Day tsunami.
20 years ago, this entire city was completely destroyed by the tsunami waters.
The museum focuses on the recovery and the ingenuity of the people here, and rightly so.
So it's probably one of the biggest cleanup operations in like the history of the world. I mean, a whole city. But it looks like they had the asset of these elephants who could get the rubble off, especially if anyone was still alive, they could get them out. But it looks like the elephants had pretty good job security. They probably had for years to come plenty to do. We found that everybody in Bandah Aceh has a tsunami story to tell. And we mean everyone.
Yeah. Bill Clinton came to your hometown?
2 times.
2 times?
Yeah.
Wow.
Many people, we stress, you know, we shock here, and then many people they close the door, they go into the hill, they making the settle on the hill, nobody living in the home, but after around the 4 day, I got some information by someone's. They tell me. Bandah Aceh very destroyed. Really? Yeah, very destroyed. I asked to my family, do you know my family? Yeah, I know your family. Yeah, but I know your family all. All your family gone. But I not trust him. I sent my nephew going to Bandah Aceh. And then after he arrived in Bandah Aceh, around the 7 days, he living in Bandah Aceh, and then he come back here, and then he talking about me, about my family, about my family. He never see about my family. My family 38 people gone. They're living in Bandah Aceh. You know, they're living in Bandah Aceh. I never see them until now. More or less 20 years. I never see them. I hope they're going to the heaven, you know. I hope they're going to the heavens. They can live in the heavens.
These people are desperate to have God's favor, and they're very eager to talk about matters of the heart.
That's right. It seems like wherever we go in these kinds of places, just by walking around and asking people, it's so easy to learn from them, especially about the 5 ways that these people attempt to come near to God. And so we did that. We walked around the streets and just asking people about that.
Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna Muhammadar Rasulullah.
Jadi kita rumah Aceh ini sekarang ini di restoran Aceh Heritage selain untuk sebagai tarian khusus tarian asal dari Aceh. Jadi begini salah contoh rumah Aceh. Pray over there.
In that section.
Yes.
Yes.
Over there.
I see. Okay.
Saya ingin menjelaskan tentang bulan Ramadan. Biasanya untuk umat Muslim yang ada di Aceh,
The Muslim, we must care to the poor.
Jadi setiap harta yang kita punya itu kalau sudah mendekati untuk kemampuan kita wajib untuk zakat.
Zakat, you give every year.
Oh, I see.
But and then if sadaqah, this is you can give anytime.
Bagi yang ingin berhaji haji itu masuk ke dalam hukum Islam 5 perkara. Jadi kalau misalnya kita mempunyai kemampuan bagi umat muslim dianjurkan dan diwajibkan untuk melaksanakan ibadah haji.
Okay. There are all kinds of offices like this Gedung DPRK Bandah Aceh, which are kind of government buildings. They're all kind of mysterious. A lot of people are curious about this place because of Sharia law. They practice law which is Islamic and very pervasive throughout this place. You can see it in the required dress code that Muslims have, as well as the some of the subtle laws. And it's kind of a slightly taboo subject, so I didn't really find anyone to talk about it with, but there's certainly a lot of things online that we can read. Here are a few of them. They were talking to you.
Yes, I'm talking with some students, and they are coming here for a couple days to visit. These young ladies came from a more remote area in the country, and so at first they were a little bit shy to talk with us, but we're finding that as we respect their culture, that they actually are very eager to talk about deep matters.
Well, here we are on the eve of Ramadan, and I'm just wondering, like, how can we build bridges to our Muslim neighbors this month?
I think wherever we live, just don't be afraid to go and talk with them.
So we came out here as tourists, and we found this place to be so open and welcoming. And sooner or later, we have to get used to these places and stop being afraid of them, because people are waiting here, and these people are waiting to hear.
We're getting ready to board the plane after spending some time in Bandah Aceh. We've really enjoyed interacting with the people here. There's many opportunities to build relationship with the local people here.
But it's not just Americans. They're welcoming Chinese to come. They're welcoming the rest of Indonesia to come. So to me, it seems like a really good opportunity just to forge like cross-cultural friendships with the people here. So that's kind of my takeaway from being here in Bandah Aceh. So until next time, we're about to get on our flight, but who knows where we'll end up next. All right. Bye.
Bye.